A toddler, a demon, a divine mother. I will tell you this little one's tale, for he is too young to tell it himself. I know his tale because I saw the whole thing. I was in my armchair, my focus far and wide scanning the area around the halfway house. Something I often did between the arrival of guests. I was looking for restlessness, anxiety, and rage. Emotions that come to the fore when beings were going to commit carnage. Mortimer was in his usual spot on the rug, and Hamish rested on the arm of my chair. Both appeared to be snoozing, but I knew better. They were watching too. Dada. Dada. A toddler's voice was heard. The toddler's laughter drew my focus to the dark forest where a baby boy walked, barefoot, towards another boy, 6 years of age, with red eyes. Come on, you can do it. I said, get over here, or I'll come over there, the 6-year-old said. The tree behind the 6-year-old bent towards the toddler, claws stretched out, ready to grab. An amber laser shot down from above, disintegrating the tree instantly with a thunderous clap. Howls and screeches came from the forest. Divine Mother descended to the forest bed between the 6-year-old and the toddler. She crouched down and held out her hands towards the toddler. The little boy toddled towards her. She scooped him up in her arms. Divine Mother turned to the 6-year-old. Joshua, you can come too, if you like. Angelus told me to tell you. We saw him first. He's ours. Let him go, Joshua said. I am always here. Divine Mother rose vertically and rapidly into the air, scanning the forest around her. Joshua watched her before he disappeared. I dared the creatures to attack her in my mind, but they knew better. She held the toddler in her arms. Touching his face, she gazed into his eyes. We all saw what happened next. The boy was with his elder father at home, just the two of them in a bare lounge that had the basics: a television, sofa, coffee table, and a landline phone connected to the wall. Colorful characters danced on the screen. The father was sat on the floor, baby bowl of cereal and a plastic spoon in his hand, watching the toddler as he played with bric-a-brac facing the television. Francis, come finish your brekkie. Father crouched closer to the boy, offering him a spoon of cereal. We need to wash up before we go to the park. That'll be fun, right? Come on, there's a good lad. The bowl hit the carpet, scattering bits of Weetabix paste. Father grabbed his chest. Francis watched as Father leaned back against the sofa, his face contorted. Father flopped to the side. Francis stopped, brick in hand, and watched his father. Dada. Francis turned back to playing with bric-a-brac. Divine Mother was in the lounge, watching them. Television was the only source of light in the room as day turned to night. Father was still in the same position as before, lips blue, complexion grey. Francis toddled into the room, barefoot. He went to his father and touched his shoulder. Dada. Francis went over to the scattered Weetabix. He crouched down and picked a bit off the floor and ate it, chewing slowly. Divine Mother kept watching. Daylight pushed through the curtains. The television, still on, lighting the lounge. Francis was asleep beside his father. He awakened. He got up and looked around at the Weetabix stained carpet. The food was gone. Francis turned to his father. Dada. Divine Mother watched the toddler. He was still crying. Several days passed. Divine Mother sat and watched as Francis' tear-stained cheeks walked a few steps, stopped, looked at his father. He turned to the television, lighting the dim room. Divine Mother kept watching, still from the same position. She eventually got up and went into the kitchen. She stopped when she saw him. The toddler was lying on his front on the kitchen floor. The soles of his feet were grey, eyes closed, gaunt. The front doorbell rang. Silence. The front doorbell rang again. Mr. Johnston, it's Celia Rogers. I'm here to check on you and Francis. Divine Mother looked out the kitchen window to see a middle-aged woman in a suit and jacket waiting at the door. She took her phone from her purse and made a call as she walked away from the house. Divine Mother crouched down next to Francis. She watched a tiny sphere of light, brilliant and pure, rise from Francis's forehead and hang a foot above it. A gateway opened near the wall. Beyond it, a beautiful garden where an elderly woman waited, smiling. She oozed comfort and joy. She beckoned the toddler. Francis, Father said. He stood up and came to the kitchen. He was still grey and pale with blue lips. Only his eyes were red. His lips remained tight as he mumbled. This way, Francis. Come to Dada. Dada, the word echoed. The sphere of light moved towards Father. Behind him, a gateway that led to the dark forest opened. Francis followed Father through the gateway. Only Father transformed into Joshua, the 6-year-old boy. The gateway snapped out of existence. Divine Mother touched Francis's head. Guardian. I heard her voice. My focus was back with me. Mortimer and Hamish were both alert, eyes open. Divine Mother, I said. May I be permitted to the use of a door, Divine Mother said. I strode out the lounge and turned left. Hamish and Mortimer followed as I walked to the staircase and descended a set of stairs to the landing, where there was a door. Divine Mother came downstairs, carrying Francis in her arms. Doggy, Francis leaned down as Mortimer approached. Angelus and a few others will be guarding his body. Let us deal with him, and you can take the little one to your meadow, I said. Divine Mother shook her head. He is not dead. Hamish stood beside the door. He did. He managed to leave his body and still be tethered to it. I closed my eyes and recited a silent mantra. I opened them, all 3 of them. There it was, a thin string of energy stretched from a cylinder-shaped bulb that was Francis, connecting him to a much larger cylinder-shaped bulb at the center of Divine Mother. Each of us had one, and our strings all linked to Divine Mother. Each of our strings pulsed as energy passed up and down the strings. Francis's pulse was weaker. It barely held together. Its offshoot that fed through the door crackled as if losing power. The boy is weakening. He will be detached from his husk soon, I said. Mortimer reached up and touched his paw on Francis's leg. Francis, head resting on Divine Mother's shoulder, opened his eyes. He smiled, then closed them. I closed my eyes, and then opened my 2 human eyes. I opened the door to the kitchen in Francis's home. Hamish will accompany you. There is no need, Divine Mother said. I insist as custodian of this house. Divine Mother gave a gentle nod. Thank you. I looked at Hamish, whose eyes blinked with white ethereal energy. When children are involved, Hamish is quick to anger. He trotted through the door. We will wait here for you, I said to Divine Mother as she walked through the door. Mortimer and I stood at the doorframe, watching, guarding. A thick shadow thickened into black syrupy ooze that formed into a tall, jagged beast with long fangs and red eyes. Their horns steamed with black vapor, giving the air a pungent, sickly, sweet aroma. The taller one spoke. Too late, Divine Mother. Husk is ours. You would do well to stay away. He gestured to a small demon about half his size. Joshua, he'll fit you nicely. Hamish grew rapidly, shifting color to black. Flecks of ethereal white sparks crackled all over as he grew to the size of a Siberian tiger. Joshua, about to take a step, stopped. You'll need to pass the guardian of children first, Angelus, Divine Mother said. Red-eyed demons piled on Hamish, who hissed, sliced. He stripped one's face clean off with one claw. Rip, claw, rip. He jumped, claws out, digging them deep into Angelus, pushing him back. The other demons fell with him. Hamish's eyes emitted blue fire as he hissed and roared in Angelus's face. Any of you move. Your boss will not see tomorrow." A deep voice was heard in the room. The demons cowered, retreating. Angelus remained still and silent. Rage brimmed within him, but he remained inert. He knew he was outmatched. I looked at Mortimer. I've not heard Hamish speak out aloud in millennia. His voice sounds old, older than the first sound a universe makes when it blinks into existence. If I were those demons, I would be afraid too. Mortimer agreed. Divine Mother crouched down next to Francis's body. "There you go, little one. Return." Francis looked at Divine Mother. His form shaped into the brilliant tiny sphere. It bobbed before it descended into his husk. Divine Mother stood up. She glared at Angelus. "Return to the sub-basement with your minions, Angelus. You try and cheat another young soul again. I will not refrain Hamish next time." Hamish snarled. He took his paws out of Angelus, who tried to stand, but he had to be supported by his minions. "Joshua, you can still come with me," Divine Mother said. Joshua kept his eyes on Hamish. He shook his head. A gateway opened to the dark forest. Angelus and his minions transformed into the black syrupy ooze that shot through it. The gateway vanished. Divine Mother walked to the lounge as Hamish transformed back into a ginger cat. Divine Mother picked up the phone and dialed. "Fire brigade and an ambulance, please. I see a man passed out in his living room. You'll need to hurry. There is a child in the kitchen too. I can't get into the flat. Help them." "Please stay on the line, madam. What is your name?" "Contact Celia Rogers." "Madam." The word was followed by a deep hiss as Divine Mother put the phone down. She turned to Hamish. "You return. I will watch for a while." Hamish strode through the door and ran upstairs. Mortimer followed him. I closed the door and returned to the lounge to find Hamish fast asleep on the arm of my chair. Mortimer was in his usual spot. I sat down and focused my gaze on Divine Mother. She sat with Francis in her lap, carefully feeding him a little water at a time. Tears fell from her eyes as she kept her gaze on the little one, gradually hydrating him. The poor Mike was starving to death. Sirens were heard, followed by the thudding of a door that busted open. Paramedics dashed to Francis on the kitchen floor. Divine Mother watched as they treated the little one. He was taken away promptly. Francis's father was taken away by the coroner. Divine Mother went to the hospital where Francis was treated. She watched over him as he healed. Nurses would often ask Francis who he's talking to as he smiled and giggled. Francis pointed at Divine Mother, but the nurses could not see anyone standing there. I was in the lounge when I heard the door on the stairs open and close. Divine Mother walked to the lounge. All three of us stood as she entered. I touched my heart and gave a gentle nod. "Divine Mother, how is young Francis?" "He is healing. His grandparents are on their way." "Hamish, will you watch over him for a while? Ensure demons steer clear?" Hamish nodded. "Thank you," Divine Mother said. "Angelus behaved with his nature, Divine Mother," I said. She nodded. "He will tip the balance. When he does, he'll have to answer to Hamish. I'll be watching. This is not my worry, Guardian. My concern is for the little ones who go unnoticed. Francis almost starved to death, and I nearly missed it. But you didn't." She wiped her eyes as she turned and left the lounge. I did not hear her footsteps as she returned to her abode. A lush green meadow where the sound of a flute is carried on a light breeze. A place where children can play safely, watched over by the first primal force, Divine Mother. I sat back in my armchair, thinking, we live in a world where children go unnoticed. Some even starve to death. They hurt as their tiny organs shut down due to lack of water and sustenance. No tears as their eyes are dried up, and yet are too little to understand why. Even with powerful deities here with me, Hamish and Divine Mother were only able to save one of many. And that was only one because Francis wandered into the dark forest. My heart broke today, watching Divine Mother take care of him. I do not envy a being that can see everything her children do to each other and is unable to step in. Can you make this world better? If you could, Halfway House 17 would not exist. Yet it does. I look forward to the day you retire me. Until next time, stay safe. Don't die in your sleep. Godspeed.